No. No. No, not PewDiePie. Not PewDiePie. My dude, why'd you have to do it? Why did you do it, Pewds? Why? Guys, if you don't know, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. My man done messed up here, guys. We got to talk a little bit about this PewDiePie thing because I got to get what's happening off of my back, guys. Why, Pewds? I love you. You are my dude. I've been watching you for forever, man. I just watched your video and I got inspired about what to do as a content creator. I got so hype. And I absolutely love what you do, man. But we got to talk about this, guys. Now, listen, a lot of people are out here and taking a lot of different sides. So I want to give you my side. Maybe you can learn something from it, maybe not. I think it's important to talk about these things, whether you agree that it's right, whether you agree that it's wrong, and whether you think something else entirely, whether you think, I don't know, out in there, you're in the universe, you're in the cosmos, you could care less. You're out on your couch doing your own thing and you're just chilling watching TV. Now, I'm not trying to bring a lot of drama to you. That's not my goal. My goal here is not drama. It's not anything crazy. It's to talk about something that I think can't be ignored. And the thing that I think can't be ignored, guys, as you come through, is the fact that it happened. Now, we live in a world where easily white people, and my friends included, use the N-word as a joke. I mean, rappers who are black go ahead and they throw that word out all the time. I can't blame people for doing that. I cannot blame you for listening to a rap lyric, hearing all the words and saying, okay, cool, let's do it. Let's say this. This is fine. My buddies don't care. I mean, I know people making jokes. Just yesterday, a buddy of mine and I were playing PUBG and he was making a joke saying, what's up, my Negev? What's up, my Negev? And the Counter-Strike players have been saying Negev because that's a name of a gun or something instead of, that actual word. Now, I'm not saying that anything is wrong with that. But what I am saying is it's getting close. And I think it's allowing people to not understand some of the important issues that are coming around it, guys. I do have to say that on behalf of, people who are kind of saying, what matters? What doesn't matter? Why do you care? And as a black person representing that kind of demographic, I can tell you that it does matter when people who are outside of, that culture use that word in a way that's not necessarily hanging with your boy. Now, the problem is being able to differentiate between hanging with your boy and not is a big key. And that's where a lot of the line gets towed. PewDiePie may say that just like my buddy was saying it to me yesterday. What's up, my Negev? Oh, big time stuff. Oh, shoot that stupid Negev. But it turned into the hard R, and that's why people are pissed off. If you don't know, he said it during playing PUBG. I caught the clip a little later, and I found out that, yeah, okay, he basically said it, but he didn't say it with just N-I-G-G-A or the sound. He said it with the hard R sound. And that is definitely not something that people use. That's not what rappers use. That's not something that is used in, American culture, even between friends. That's something that's left strictly to the past of where there was really a lot of segregation. There was a lot of slavery. There was a lot of racial injustice going on in America, which is something that's plagued our country and still plagues it still. I've been denied from bars in Georgia just months ago because of my race. All of my friends who are white be able to get in and they can't. So as a black person who deals with that and is aware of that, it's tough for people to say, you know what, man, you shouldn't care. It's just a word. It's not just a word. I think people at this point realize it's not just a word. But if that word doesn't mean anything to you, where's the line of responsibility? If you say a word that means nothing to you but means a lot to a bunch of other people, should you be held accountable for what you've said? Personally, I believe that PewDiePie, and even when he went through the very horrible issues of, saying the Nazi things and doing those jokes, a lot of people were really upset with him. The problem is, the fact is that he's not able to go into that zone anymore if it was kind of a mistake, because those words don't really come through as mistakes. I mean, I could tell you something right now. I could never really make a Nazi joke because that's just not in my vocabulary. I don't really think and joke in private about Nazis and this and that being a bad influence, and really caring about that. And so I think that a lot of people are worried that this is just a sign that what PewDiePie has done is unfortunately more of a look into the inside of how he really thinks rather than just making it an accident. I don't know, but I think that's what a lot of people are worried about. Now, I think the issue here is that a lot of people are taking this and saying that this shouldn't be said. This shouldn't be talked about. This shouldn't be promoted anymore. If you think it's just a word, or if you think there's such issues with it, you shouldn't bring attention to it. For me, that's not really the point of what YouTube or anything like this is about. I think the point of all of this is talking about things that help us to grow. I think when you ignore things like this, you unfortunately push it further and further into the depths of things that are around, are active, are currently affecting our society, but that never come to light. And that's really what I'm encouraging everybody to do. I think that the point is not to say that I hate PewDiePie, or that I love PewDiePie, or that this is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I think people should stop going out of the way to defend what he did, or to too far go ahead and say attack PewDiePie as a culprit of a person who is just not a good individual. I think the issue is understanding that when something that's said that affects another group of people it brings you to a fault, and understanding that PewDiePie in this situation has offended not only a lot of people who are of a different race, but I think offended people who are fans of his. Personally, I mean, if I said something to you guys that absolutely offended 30% of the people who watch my channel, or maybe 20%, not only is it just the issue regarding the content or the what is said, but it's the issue regarding respecting the people that is in your audience. This is the big thing that I thought about, unfortunately, in regards to the Nazi stuff that he had said. What I said was that, I think PewDiePie, as a content creator on YouTube, we all know demonetization is happening, and you're harder and harder to say the things that you want. But I think the issue is that PewDiePie is going into this place of people being upset with what he's saying, but not because they think it's wrong. Wall Street Journal did that. They did that. They try to make money off of it. We all know that. But the issue is a lot of people who watch PewDiePie are Jewish. A lot of people enjoyed watching PewDiePie, and to hear somebody make jokes about something that has absolutely ruined a lot of your ancestry, and that you probably know people who suffer and visited the Holocaust Museum. I know my girlfriend is Jewish and absolutely visits the Holocaust Museum once, maybe twice a year, has friends that are devout Jews that come from Israel, and we're extremely offended by that. The problem is not necessarily that even people think that it's not an issue, but even looking at the bigger issue of that is that it's not an issue for the people that he watches. I mean, if it's not an issue in terms of your culture, in terms of the world, in terms of saying a word, doesn't matter on the internet, it's a word. Is it an issue in terms of taking away part of a trust process of your audience? I think that's the other big question that I think a lot of people aren't looking around. I think people here are saying, saying the fact that you shouldn't care and you shouldn't do that. People are going to care, right? Whether you care or not, people are going to care. That's the end of the day. I think we can all move beyond that. PewDiePie, I think, definitely is going to take a little bit of backlash from here. And I hope that, honestly, his channel continues to do well, because I personally like the content PewDiePie makes. I want that guy to succeed. But I can't sit and say that that's an okay thing to say. I can't go ahead and watch somebody who says that, hey, this thing that takes away value or takes away respect for a certain race, whether you believe it or not, that it does to that race, and that's okay for you to do. I can't say that that's great, and I put my stamp of approval on that. And I think a lot of people who are saying he did nothing wrong are just looking at saying, I like PewDiePie. He made a mistake. Life is a bunch of mistakes. I agree, guys. There's nothing wrong here. Life is a bunch of mistakes, and we learn from them. But the problem is that when people here see something like that, like a guy, 57 million subscribers, say a word like that, it empowers people who don't feel the way you guys feel, who say, it's just a word, relax. It empowers people who feel that, unfortunately, that's the way that it should happen. You guys have to see, you should see the actual comments coming through on this channel right now. As a black person talking about this, you should see the amount of people that are calling me the N-word. So you go ahead and tell me that it's just a word. You go ahead and tell me that it just matters. It doesn't matter at all. Because it does. A lot of people will use this and say, oh, great, PewDiePie said it. I'm going to say it too. Everyone believes it. That's the way it is. That's not the way it is, guys. And unfortunately, for those who believe it is, they're getting empowered by people who are maybe making mistakes or maybe showing out of the closet that it's cool. I don't allow it to affect me, but I know that people are affected by it. Because if I allowed it to affect me, if I allow comments on the internet to affect me, then I wouldn't be a YouTuber. And I think PewDiePie is the same way. I think what the biggest learning experience from this is going to be saying, what do we do from here on? And how do we go about making sure that we are an awareness of a bigger group of people that are watching what we do? PewDiePie is in a beautiful situation. And again, like I said, I've loved his content, and he's really inspired me, and I think will continue. But the thing is, when you make a mistake this big, and you make a mistake the thing before, you have to understand it comes with repercussions. And it comes with you, unfortunately, empowering people that you're not about. PewDiePie himself made videos saying that, unfortunately, guys, my Nazi jokes have to stop because I realize that I'm actually having my stuff being used by white supremacists in the Charleston March, saying that I'm with them. And I understand that my jokes are being used as a positive movement for them. So I'm going to stop making the jokes. And that happened, and then unfortunately this happened, right? But the big key for me is that we understand that we are a place in the overall generation of people who need to move forward through this stuff. A lot of people are going to be offended. A lot of people are going to be upset. That's the internet. Like, right? I mean, come on. Everybody's going to be upset. I'm not talking about, hey, we need to be more upset here. I'm just saying that I think we need to be aware and not ignore it. I think we need to be aware and not ignore it, and say for content creators, for people who represent, whether it's me, 150,000, whether it's PewDiePie who represents 57 million people, and whether it's anyone in between or below, that the words that we say have an impact on the environment around us, and that the people who watch us listen to us. And they decide and decipher what's right and okay. The same way they decide what video game's fun to play or not, or what thing is cool, or what words we should say that's hip and cool and slang, they decide the exact same thing sometimes on what you say is okay in terms of a racial slur. If somebody says, oh, that word, that doesn't matter. You know, that piece of history, traumatic, derogatory, that doesn't matter. To me as a white individual, that doesn't matter, right? Unfortunately, isn't really respecting a lot of that audience that it does matter to. And as somebody who's at the top of that, I think it is important for us to realize that we have more of a duty to not only just ourselves, but to everyone. Now, again, guys, everyone is going to say it's just a word. Everyone's going to say, oh, it's not just a word. There's going to be both sides of this argument. That's part of the problem, because everyone uses it as a reason to hate, or they use it as a reason to move forward. And either way, you look at it, and some people will say, or not matter. But either way, people use it for their own devices. So when someone this big says something like that, you could see the results right now. You know, I have people in my chat telling other people to kill themselves. I have people in my chat telling other people to, you know, that they're wrong. I mean, this is what people do. It has nothing to do with the fact that PewDiePie said that one word. It's what that word ends up meaning for other people's and their agendas. I think we need people in this country, and I think we need people in this world who are willing to say that any type of disrespect, any type of discrimination is not okay and not the direction we want to move. If you guys disagree with that, let me know. I'm okay with that. If you think that discrimination, and basically, saying one race, one person, one style is better than another, that's okay. We just don't agree on that one, and I don't think we need to. But that's definitely where I stand. So the problem is that no matter what was said, I think that we need to understand that there is a greater risk at saying that in your position, especially as somebody who's at the top of YouTube, or myself even, who's in a decent little spot in YouTube, and what those things can mean to the people that follow us and to the interactions they have in their lives. Remember, you're not just a gaming channel that's happening in front of you. You're a gaming channel that's happening in front of millions of people. Whether they step out for their coffee break and get coffee and watch your games and hear what you have to say, or whether they're at work and working and they hear what you have to say there. And to silence that and to say that, people who speak out against what the guy at the top did. I mean, think about this. I think it's pretty unequivocal in America that saying that word is inappropriate. It's taboo. It represents something that America is not proud of. And I think you can ask anybody that that's not a proud time in America unless they're still a racist. And if they are, well, I don't know. But look at how many people are defending the fact that he said that word just because he is who he is. Now, I get it, man. If my favorite guy, I would defend him probably to the end of the world if he's my favorite guy. Kobe Bryant, he had some stuff, and I probably defended him. I look the other way. But sometimes that's a problem because we ignore the fact that, hey, our favorite guy might have just messed up, and that ideally that's not something that we want or should endorse, despite what he said. So for me, this is an important thing. You can't fix it. You can't go about trying to say, I'm going to change him, I'm going to change this person, I'm going to change this person. What I do want to encourage everyone is, if you really don't think that that's okay, to be okay saying that. It's not the people who don't speak, who don't talk, who don't mention that this is my ideal, I think this is what we should be working for, and that that's not acceptable, end up creating a de facto default choice of saying that is acceptable because they don't speak up. And then the people who think that that's the way to go, they just talk and they just overwhelm everybody. So for me, this is not just something that I want to do. This is something that I feel like I have to do. I feel like I have to say that that's not okay. That if you guys catch me on that kind of stuff, miss me and tell me right away that we need to change, and tell me and bring it to my attention. You know, it's not in my vocabulary to go ahead and say these slurs or derogatory slurs about other people's countries. I would never slip up on mine because I don't say that in private. And I'm not saying that PewDiePie does, but I just don't have that in my system. And I encourage you guys to let go of that as well. We're moving up. We're moving into a positive era, guys. The world doesn't need us to spread apart. It needs us to come together. I hope you guys understand that. Because right now, I'm sitting at a computer. I'm sitting at a desk. I'm in my room. But we have a few people watching. We'll have thousands of people more watching the video. And I think the most important thing I want to say is that this is important for us to come together. Not to spread apart and to divide and conquer, saying he's wrong or he's right. I want to use this as an opportunity to say that it is important that we realize that others, as content creators, as people, whether you're just an individual at your school, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father or son, a grandma, whatever it is. I don't know why grandmas would be watching my channel, to be honest. But if you are, maybe you're my grandma, to realize that you impact people and to be really aware of the impact that you want to make. I guarantee if PewDiePie took it back, and he took it back right away, guys. He took it back right away. He said, I messed up. And I got to give him that. He immediately recognized that. He didn't say, oh, yeah, screw it, and just walk away. He realized that, you know what, sometimes your words affect a lot of people. Now, it is up to them as to how they'll be affected. And again, I'm not here having a horrible life because PewDiePie said that. But what I am here saying is that people who would use that to their advantage to say that it's an okay word to say, or people who would say, yeah, see, look, PewDiePie says it. It's no big deal. I'll say it. That's not okay. That, in my opinion, that's not the direction we're going. And I think anything like that, not let alone has this much history in America, but let alone puts others down in order to raise others up, is an absolute irresponsibility to us as citizens of whatever country you're in moving forward to create the best living environment we can make. That's pretty much all I'm saying, guys. And again, it's all good. And again, it does depend on the person as to whether they will let it affect them or not. So I encourage you guys to understand that these are just words for you. If you are deeply affected by this, you see a guy that you love, maybe you're a young African-American teen, and you're aware of the history of slavery, your family, maybe some great grandmembers went through that, and that's something that your parents have talked about, and you see your favorite YouTuber use that word like it's no big deal, but it means a lot to you. Don't get discouraged, man. Don't let that be an issue, because there are people out there who that happened for. PewDiePie has 57 million people watching him. Okay, this is going to get to even more. And for somebody who says that, hey, this is not a big deal, I've used this word a lot, this is just giving me more carte blanche to say I'll use it again, please think about that and think about the people that might be affected. It's not a sad story. It's not a sob story. This is just a story for saying that as an individual, we have the choice to let these things affect us or not. But as an individual, we also have the choice to say, where do I want to go with my energy and my time and my life? And what kind of world do I want to create? Let's create a better one. Let's not create one that puts people down. Again, I feel sorry for PewDiePie because I think this is a couple times that he's just probably had a couple mistakes when he's just a kid. He's just a guy like me playing games and made a mistake. I hope that this doesn't hurt him too much. I hope that people are aware of how to move on from this. And I do hope that we all know that we're here staying positive, and guys, and that's where we're moving forward. So I appreciate you guys. And again, thank you so much for stopping by. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it on and up. And as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming. And we'll see you all next time. Feel free to stay tuned if you like what you got. Subscribe. I appreciate you guys coming around. And again, let's keep moving this world forward, huh? Thanks.